Now that you have a general understanding of the listening exam in terms of its structure and its setup, I am going to present to you some basic information about the different question types that you are going to encounter or see on the listening exam. So there are basically 5 different question types that you are going to encounter in the listening exam. They all are some variation of a fill in the blank or multiple choice question. The fill in the blank questions can be in a sentence that's either in the middle of the line, middle of the sentence, or a blank line at the end. You also have a map or diagram which could be filled a blank or multiple choice. You have a table or flow chart which is to fill in the blank. You have a multiple choice standard where you have to pick one answer A, B, C or D. Or you have the multiple choice correct answers from choices 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Or A, B, C, D, E. And then you have a match in question where you might have some selections in a box and the questions have something that the person said or something connected to the person. And you have to match again, that is a form of multiple choice. So first of all, let's go ahead and go over the fill in the blank question types so that when you see these question types on the exam, you'll know exactly what you are supposed to do. You'll know that it's filled the blank question. You'll know what to expect. You'll know the strategy. So let's go ahead and move forward with our examples of the fill of blank questions. So as I said, you have fill in the blank traditional question type, and this is where you have just blank lines that you have to fill out. There is some language before the blank line with such a number of 2 that you see here on the screen, or like number 3 where the blank line is in the middle of the sentence. But the strategy of a traditional blank line question is very straightforward. You have to of course underline the keywords that are before the blank line or after the blank line. That's very important. You have to basically underline those keywords because those keywords are going to point you to the answer choice. They are pointing you to the answer choice. In addition, you want to make sure that you underline the noun, the subject and the object because that's going to help you to know when the answer choice is being given. But in terms of the answer will always connect to the languages before the after the blank line. Also keep in mind that they are most likely to use synonyms here, or they are going to probably reorder the sentence where they say the object first instead of the subject. In addition to that, you have got to make sure that you write your answers immediately when you hear them. Okay, if you hear something that you think is the answer, write it right away. Don't wait. That's not something that you want to do. The other question type that we have to deal with is a fill in the blank question. That is a table, again still a straightforward fill in the blank type of question, but is in the table format, right? Just a table format. So you see like here for number 7 on the screen, it says kilometers. You are going to be listening out for a certain number. And in the next lecture, we are going to explain to you about the tricks and the traps that they are used. The tricks and the traps that they are used that make this question somewhat challenging. There is a table here, but it goes in order like all the fill in the blank questions. You want to write your answers immediately and listen for synonyms or listen for possible recording of the sentence. But here, like in this one, there are no sentence on the table, right? This one is very straightforward, and this one that you are looking at right now is probably from section 1. Next, this question that you can encounter will most likely happen in section number 2. and it's a map. But it's still basically a fill in the blank questions. You are just fill in the blank lines on a map. So when you are doing a map question, you want to note all of the map areas, not just where the blank lines are, but all of the map areas. So in terms of where the lake is, the reception area, the rare breed section, the grazing area, the mash, all of the areas, the reason why is when they are giving you the answer to number 12. They are going to connect it to the grazing area and mash. They are going to connect in some kind of way. You also want to know your direction north, south, east and west because they are going to connect answer choices to directions. They also want to make sure that you do or that you are aware of is that very often with a map question. They will take you back to the reception area and start over to take you in a different direction. The map area could be challenging for some students, but you have to really watch out for directional language. That's what they are testing here. They are testing your ability to recognize directional language. Next to, above, the northeast, corner, across, next to, below, right. So that's what you have to be able to really listen out of for this kind of question type. Now let's go ahead and look at some of the multiple choice question types that you are going to encounter. On the listening session, you of course have a traditional type where you have a question like number 15 and you have answer choices A, B, C to choose from, and then it's going to move to question number 16 and 17 then 18. All of the questions go through order. They'll go in order. And so what you are doing here is have to be able to quickly read through the question, and you want to underline the keywords in the questions because that's what is going to help you. That's going to help you to be able to know when the answer is being said. Now, if you have gone through and you have underlined all of the keywords and the questions and you still have time, then you can go back and look at some of the language and the correct choices. But you have to be careful doing that because what you are doing here with this type of multiple choice question is you are not listening for exact words that they say. That's not what you are listening for. They are going to connect wrong answers to exact language. So very often when students are looking at this answer choices and they are saying, okay, let me look at these words and the answer choices. And then when I hear one of those words, I am going to pick the answer. That's a wrong choice, right? Correct answers are going to use synonyms. The way it works is when they are having a conversation, they are going to say the answer. Or if it's a solo presentation, they are going to say the keyword language from the question and then they are going to say the answer, but they are going to use synonyms. Then you have the multiple choice question, which is a part 2 style of question, and here they are asking you to make 2 choices. So in the example that you see there to the right, it says which 2 hobbies that they were interested in as a youth. And you have to pick the 2 choices that it says he was interested in. Alright, the 2 choices in terms of answer placement, it doesn't matter if you write your answers, if you make no, T and D the number 11B, it does not matter. Now again, most likely when you hear the answer choices, the correct answer choices will use synonyms. They may not say the word climbing directly or the word hunting directly. They may use language to describe what there is. They are testing if you can make the match. That's the test. The wrong answers will very often use exact language. Now sometimes when you have it, like with the first one, where there are a single words A, B, C, D, E is possible, that a correct answer might be stated. Exactly. However, when we look at 23 and 24 and you see where the answer choices are much longer, again we are probably taking about the difference between having a question style in part 2 and part 3, but the questions in 23 and 24, the answer choices are much longer. And so they are going to use synonyms to make it more difficult. But remember, answer placement does not matter. And then of course you can have a multiple choice question where you have to choose from a box, and here of course an answer choice can be used more than once, because if you look to the right you have 6 questions and you have 3 choices in the box. So an answer choice can be used more than once. So here what you want to do now, keep in mind the questions go in order. So you are going to hear the language for 15, then 16 and 17 and 18. Be aware they may use synonyms. They may not say booking holidays. They may say reserving a vacation. Right? But it goes in order. They are not going to give number 19 and then give number 15. It goes in order. But you want to note the language in the answer to the language in the question, so you recognize when they are giving that answer, but also really pay attention to the answer choices A, B and C. Identify the keywords. So for example, in A, you have the word encouraged. You have to really think about what synonym language. Are they going to be able to use that word? Because they are not. And when they are in the conversation or in the subtle presentation, they are not going to say the word encouraged. They are going to say synonyms of that, and you have to be able to pick up on that match. They are not going to say it's against the rules. They are going to give synonyms of that. Okay, now in the upcoming lectures, when I'm really going through a strategy application, I point out the synonym language that they are using, so you can realize how that's being done, right? And here is the same choice from a box question, but you can see from the number 37 to 40. Now we are in section number 4 and look at how they have increased the difficulty level. The answer choices in the box are now 6 instead of 3. The answer choices in the box are longer and questions are a little bit longer, but that's how they really raise the level of difficulty. Same question type, but that's what they are doing to increase the difficulty level. Okay, and coming up next, I'm going to give you some listening questions, tips, some advice and some suggestions so you can have a lot of success on the listening part of the exam. Thanks for joining us, and I'll talk to you soon.